No voice only. Internals was tough or it was easy? How you wrote? What's here, Sanidhi? Am I audible? Yeah, what happened? Sanidhi, how was it?
Easy, sir.
Others? Yeah. So I hope no doubts in that problem. Is it okay to everyone? Everyone did well. Shilpa, why?
Yes, sir.
How about diploma, guys? Pavitra, Sakshi, Shashank. How you wrote here? Am I audible, Shashank?
Last question, sir. I left, sir. Steps.
Left steps, block diagram, huh?
Time was not sufficient.
So you need to practice as much as possible so that time will become faster for you. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you can mute yourself. Okay, guys. So before going for your next topic, I told so this time means during this second internals session portion what you're going to cover, I want you to prepare for the presentation also what I told. So what I planned, so instead of giving for your sake and waiting for no response, so let me assign USN along with a topic so that it will be easy for you also to prepare. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So we'll start from USN number wise only. So anyone 101 is not there. 102 you're there. USN 102. Rajesh Kumar. I'm audible here. You're there, man. Rajesh. Okay, 103. My voice is audible, right? 103, 102, both are not there. Okay, 104. 104. Am I audible, Sanidhi?
Yes, sir.
Where are the participants? Okay, fine. So 105 till 104 it's not there. Okay. 105, Rashmi.
Yes, sir.
You can see the slide here. I mean the question paper.
Yes, sir.
So you go with the first question A. So here what all things you're
Okay, sir.
supposed to explain, I will just tell you, just make a note.
Yes, sir.
So before explaining this problem, so you briefly talk what is the meaning of mechanical system.
Yes, sir.
So then you talk what is the meaning of FE and FI. Then
Yes,
try to
sir.
explain this problem along with each steps. So you need to show both FE as well as FI. Is it okay? Just
Yes,
one
sir.
problem. So just one problem
Yes, sir.
along with the logic. So if you want to make presentation, you make, or with a sheet you can explain, whichever you feel comfortable, go ahead. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So I will give for everyone to prepare this complete week time. So 1 week time you have. Next week, hopefully next Monday, we'll start with you, Rashmi. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Good. 106, Rita.
Yes, sir.
Audible here. So
Yes, sir.
question
Yes,
number
sir.
1B of internal question paper. See why I am giving internal question paper. It will be like revision also. and it will be like explanation of what all the things we did in internals also. So it will be like 1.5 model get covered by this question paper. Is it okay? So 1B is your
Yes.
question here. So before explaining this
Okay.
problem, I want you to explain what is the meaning of transfer function. Okay. So if you want to prepare any slide on this transfer function, prepare. Then you can explain this problem step by step. Is it okay?
Okay, sir.
Fine. So then 108, Ruchita.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
2A for you here. Question number 2A. So you also same thing before explaining your FEFI. So individually try to explain mechanical system means what, then analogous system means what in that two types FI and FE. So then you go to this problem and explain the thing step by step. Is it okay?
Okay, sir. Okay,
Next,
sir.
109, Vaishnavi. 109 is not there. Audible here?
Yes, sir.
For you 2B. So you can see the question paper 2B. So before explaining this diagram, so again same concept, explain what is the meaning of block diagram and briefly overview the things like how you did in your friend has did some slide last class, right? So just overview that 11 steps in general. No need to go in depth, just overview because to solve this problem that should be known. So that presentation you can carry on. Is it okay?
Last class I only presented, sir.
ನೀವಾಗ್ಲೇ ಆಯ್ತಪ್ಪ then you do this problem on this year. You just summarize that PPT ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, for that PPT only you just add this problem solution. You just glance that once more and you can go ahead with this problem. Okay na?
Okay.
Because that time we didn't went USA number wise, it was randomly happen. So you better do now Vaishnavi. Same PPT, you just add this problem solution. Okay. So in presentation, if you have doubt how to add problems and all, you can write in a sheet, you can crop it, you can paste in that slide. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. 110, Sahana.
Yes, sir.
3A ma for you.
Yes, sir.
So 3A, and you can look at the question. This is based on rotational system, right? So you need to clearly mention what is the meaning of mechanical system. So under that you have two category. One is translation, rotational. So my topic is rotational. So explain what is the meaning of rotational equivalent terms compared to your translation. Then you can explain this problem. Is it okay?
Okay, sir.
Sakshi, 111.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
3B ma for you.
Yes, sir.
3B, here same concept. So explain briefly about transfer function. So what is
Okay,
the
sir.
meaning of a transfer function? What exactly you're trying to write? And equation
Okay.
for transfer function and this problem step by step. Okay na?
Yes, sir.
Okay. 112, Sanjay.
Yes, sir.
4A.
Okay, sir.
So you also same concept. So you have to prove mechanical analogous circuit, right? So for that explain analogous meaning from this, how to get the equivalent. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Is it fine?
Yes, sir.
Then 4B goes to 113. Sanjit. Sanjit Kumar. Okay. Sanidhi. 114. Audible. Sanidhi. Yeah. Question number 4B you can take care. Okay. So you also explain the things how I told to your friends. So before explaining this problem, briefly explain the meaning of block diagram. So overview the steps involved in this and how to solve this problem step by step. So 4B question explanation goes to Sanidhi. Is it okay?
So can I write in the book and explain,
Yeah,
sir?
you can. That's what I told. See, option is with you. Whether you want to write the things in a sheet, project a sheet, explain, it's fine. Or if you want to make a presentation like how you did last semester and this sem, your friend Vaishnavi, as she told, explanation of block diagram, how she did, like that also you can make. So if you have worry how to make the pictures and all, you can crop the picture what you wrote on the sheet and you can dump on the presentation. See why I'm asking you to present because just few more semester you have to present the things as a mini project, as an internship. So get prepared from now only. That is the agenda. That's all. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Fine. Then coming to 115, I think the question paper will end here. Satya.
Yes, sir.
So you take the topics here. Translation motion. In that I told you with respect to mass, spring, and something called dashboard.
Yes,
Correct
sir.
now? So that
Yes, sir.
explanation you can give along with translation. You explain rotation also. So
Okay, sir.
problems are not required for you. You just explain the concept, translation motion what it
Yes, sir.
does, and rotational motion what it does. And I think I have given one table, a comparisons table, and how it
Yes,
replicas in
sir.
electrical circuit. Correct? Huh? So that much
Yes, sir.
topic you can go ahead. Is it okay?
Okay, sir.
Okay. So fine. Till here we'll make a note. So remaining students by this week, maybe tomorrow or day after tomorrow, I will give a topics for you. So get prepared. So whenever I assign topics, from there 1 week time will be given for you. So I'm not giving you deadline that you have to do tomorrow only. Take your own time, prepare the things properly. So at least prepare for 5 to 10 minutes talk, so that it will be useful for you also further. Is it okay till everyone? Till you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So let's move on with the syllabus then. So since you already explained with respect to your signal flow graph, so I think almost 1 week gap has happened. So let me try to summarize in brief quickly. Then we'll go with the Mansion gain formula and problem. Okay. So that is what the agenda of today's class. So let me share the screen back. So is this PDF visible, guys? Everyone, is it visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So before going for this, so what are the things we have to go ahead? You just make sure. So you need to know clearly why we went for signal flow graph even though we have block diagram. So what is the answer for this? What is the purpose of going for signal flow graph even though we have your block diagram representation? Yes? No answers? I'm waiting for your answers, guys. Yeah?
Time consumption.
Good. Time consumption is more in case of block diagram. Good. Then only one difference we discussed. Huh? Do you
There
remember
are
we
no
discussed?
blocks.
Yeah, there are no blocks like what all things you have learned in your block diagram. Similarly, you don't have any summing point, you don't have any takeaway point, nothing. So it is just you're going to represent with help of nodes and a wire connection from node to node. So that is like a branch connection, and the arrow mark will tell you from which direction I'm flowing, whether I'm flowing from input to output or output to input. So the flow from input to output is called as a flow from input to output is called as, what is that path called as?
Forward path.
Good, forward path. Similarly, if I go reverse, output to input,
Feedback or
feedback
reverse.
path. Okay, now. So I think we discussed all this. So we went through a clear picture. What are the need of signal flow graph? So majority things will go with respect to complexity. So as the complexity is more with respect to block diagram, so this signal flow graph will tell you a simple way how to solve the problem. Okay. So then let me go with the properties now. Let me glance the things. So properties you already went through. So it clearly mentioned what is the meaning of LTI system. So I told you this is one module or one topic in your signal system. So in brief, I told you linear means what, time invariant means what. Am I? So what is the meaning of time invariant, guys? So this is dealing with respect to systems. See, till now what you learned in signal was only on signals. So from module number 2, you're going to learn systems. Okay. So just have an idea. Input is there, output is there. If I pass the input, to analyze how it comes, it has to flow through a system. So system has its own response. So combination of input as well as response from a system itself is our output, right? So time invariant means what? What is the thing I told you? The examples. Can anyone tell me what all the examples went through? Time invariant. Time invariant. What is the example I gave you?
If there is delay in input signal, there will be delay in output signal.
Good. So one example, Satya. One example. I told n number of examples with respect to your time variant as well as invariant. So if it is with respect to time variant, I told the things which are fixed. So for example, months in a year or
Yes,
days or weeks. Yes or no? After Monday, Tuesday is fixed. So after Monday, we can't go back to Friday. Correct now? So that is
yes,
called
sir.
as time variant system. So invariant means which is having variation. So for example, arrival and departure of your train, bus, flight, whatever it is. So if we expect there is some delay with respect to my input, so same we expect at the output also. So such is what you are going to analyze this signal flow graph. Okay. So then the flow of branches along the arrowhead indicates with the branches. So you can see example here. So x1, x2 are the nodes, and the arrow mark connected with the arrow will indicate how the flow is taking, whether it is from output to input or input to output. Okay. So in property number 3, so whatever the things you can see there, number 4, that is called as a branch gain. Correct? So branch gain is going to be multiplied with the corresponding things what you have, and you can get the answer, right? So then we discussed what exactly your x2 is equal to. It says what? 4 times of x1. So coming to the fourth, so like your KCL, what we learned, algebraic sum of all the node entering is equal to leaving. So that concept is in fourth property. So you can look at here. So you can look at x1 is entering, x3 is entering, x4 is also entering. So what are the things entering to your x2 node is a formula. So 4 times because of the gain 4x1 minus because of this minus gain x3 and 3x4. So this combination is your answers. Okay. See why I'm telling this, because straight away if you solve the problem, you will again you have to recollect the things what we learned. So just quickly we'll glance the things what has happened in the last class, and you can go with the problem. Okay. So property number 5, you can look at your entering and leaving. So you can see in this x2 entering is also there, leaving is also there. So you can see different nodes I can consider as output. So that we have mentioned here. So x2 5 x1 minus 2 x3. From this 2 it is entering for x2. If I take with respect to my x4, you can see x4, x2 is entering with a gain of 1. Say x5 2 times of x2, x6 3 times of x2. That is what they mentioned here. Okay. And last property. So this signal flow graph is not unique. It means need not to worry that I should write the things in this way only. You can do alignment however you want, but only thing we want is the path. So input output with arrow mark should be proper. Alignment you can do however you want. So any doubts anyone with the properties of signal flow graph? Is it okay? Shall I proceed? Shall I?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So then let's summarize the things regarding your terminologies, what you used. See, these are the things what I'm telling you can expect for 5 to 6 marks. If they ask you to explain the properties or difference between block diagram, signal flow graph, 6 to 8 marks you can expect. So as a theory part what I'm talking. So remaining all out of 20 marks remaining will be your problems. Okay. And that problem is based on your Mansion gain formula to calculate the transfer function. So with respect to terminologies, we already got to know what is the meaning of source node. So source node means nothing but your input node, right? So node having only outgoing branches, that is called source node or called as input branch. You can see in this example, x0 is called as input node. Then sink node is nothing but which is having all incoming branches. So that is also called as output node. So you can see in this example x5. So then we discussed about chain node. So chain node means which are in between your input to output. Okay. So x1, x2, x3, x4 are the called as chain node. So x1 is having incoming also, outgoing also. Correct? Huh? So that is what the meaning of chain node. Then we discussed about forward paths. So as you already know, forward path with respect to block diagram, same procedure repeats. So forward path, then feedback loop. So feedback loop, you should make sure that it should not trace the things once more. That is what the thing you should be, right? So without tracing any node twice. So if you take, for example, this x1, x2, x3, ending point, starting point should be same, correct? Huh? That is called as a loop, any closed path. So here they're taken x2, x3, x4, x2, x2, x3, x4, and again x2, this path. So if it go with other, it is touching something else, right? So this is your feedback loop. So what you learned in your block diagram, same concept, just represent in a graphical way. So path gain. So whenever you want to find the forward path gain, so whatever the things you have with respect to, for example, the forward path x0, x1, that corresponding gain, like how we did in the previous example of properties, right? So you have taken this example and we have showed, right, how we are going to multiply x2 nothing but 5x1 and x2 having minus 2x3. That is called path gain, that you are supposed to multiply according to the given question. So then we added something called dummy node. So this dummy node will come whenever the diagram look like this. If there is no input node as well as output node, then we can add dummy node with a gain as 1. So there is no variation is going to happen. So this will come whenever source and sink node is not available. If it is there, don't do any addition of dummy nodes, right? Then coming for non-touching loops. So in this we clearly mention two non-touching loop means what, three non-touching loop means what. You can see here x1, I think this is x2, this is not x3, x1, x2, x3, x4. So you can see loop L1 is there and L2 is there. So you can see x1 is not touching x2. So it means loop 1 is not touching loop 2. So such kind of loops you're supposed to consider. So like that, how many are there? So in this, two non-touching loops L1, L2 are not touching to each other. So two non-touching loops are 2. Three non-touching loops means L1, L2, L3. Each nodes or each loops are not touching to each other. If we connect x2 to x3, then I can't tell that L2, L3 are called as a non-touching loop. Is it okay? See why we're discussing this? This is there when you go to problem. So just have an idea. So touching loop means what? Non-touching loop means what? Okay. So then we discussed about the last part called as loop gain. So you went through with your powered path gain. Same way, if you consider loop gain, you just need to multiply the answers here. Any doubts, anyone? Till here? So I think you are getting just a revision concept, right? Summary, is it okay? So once you solve the problem, all these are required. So for that purpose, I'm just glancing the things once more. Am I fine till here? Shall I proceed? Shall I proceed? I'm audible, guys.
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So let's move on to next thing. I think before going for the next concept, we did something called as your methods to obtain signal flow graph. So we went through two concept from system equation, how to write a signal flow graph. Similarly, from the block diagram, how to write a signal flow graph. Correct? So I think you remember this problem. So if the equations are given like this, so I taught you how to write a signal flow graph. Is it okay to everyone? So only thing you should remember is interconnection between your individual nodes. So that should be proper. So here V1, Vi is given here and V0 is given. That means with respect to your input output, then between that how to make the connection, these equations will help you. So anybody have doubts how to write this equation in terms of signal flow graph? Anyone? Is it okay? And I told you clearly what all things are supposed to take it as loop. So wherever you have find the things like this 3v2 is there, then again if you go to v2, if you find v1, it means that it should be entering. So if you have a confusion which is entering, which is leaving, so these equations will help you out. You do you remember this? Is it okay with this? Shall I proceed? Nothing new we are doing. The things which has already happened, I'm just brushing up once. Is it okay with this concept? Obtaining a signal flow graph using your system equation. Anybody have doubt how to write this flow graph? Shall I proceed?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So same way, there is one more topic called as obtaining a signal flow graph with help of block diagram. So this also we went through. So however the block diagram is given, so if they have not mentioned this naming T1, T2, you can mention. So as we already know, S1 summing point 1, summing point 2. So T1, T2 means takeaway point. If you want B1, B2 also can give, means breakaway point, or you can take one more name called as what? I told three names for this. What is the one more name? So takeaway point, breakaway point, one more. Forgot. What is the other name I told, Satya? Am I audible here? There is no response only.
Yes, sir.
Pick
What
off
is the
point.
good? So pick off point. So either of this, you can mention anything. So default, if they give T1, T2, go with that. Not an issue. So that marcation as it is, you're supposed to make here. So S1, you can look at your S1, S2 is there, and in between T1, T2 is there. However, the connection is there. Same way you connect it and make the path. And we know that from the property number 5, there is no uniqueness. It need not be any unique diagram. You can change this diagram in this way or this way. You can align however you want, but make sure the paths should not get altered. So is it okay till here? So this was the topic we covered till last class. So if you have any doubts, you can ask. Otherwise, we will go with the main concept, which will fetch you 12 to 14 marks from this module number 2, signal flow graph topic. So 12 to 14 marks, what you can expect from this single topic. Remaining 6 marks is from your other topic what you learned till now. Is it okay till here? Shall I proceed?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine, good. So now we'll discuss about your Mansion gain formula. I already told you, Mansion was the person who introduced this concept of signal flow graph. So for that purpose, they are naming it as Mansion, and he has generated one formula to calculate your transfer function. So that is the thing what you already did in your block diagram, but the complexity level was more with this single formula. So it's going to help you out how to get a Mansion transfer function easily. So you can link this topic to your Millman theorem. I hope everyone remember Millman theorem in your network concept.
Yes, sir.
Millman theorem. Do you remember? So we had one
Yes, sir.
for voltage and resistor, right? So instead of applying your source transformation technique, function gain formula, Millman theorem formula, to get the same thing, right? Complexity reduction of steps was happened using
Yes,
our
sir.
Mansion gain formula also. Okay, we'll go with the formula. You can look at here. So this is your formula. Whenever you start any problem on signal flow graph, so what you're going to do now, so this formula is a thing, first thing you have to write. So this will give you 1 marks for definition wise. Okay, so the overall transfer function till now, according to block diagram, what you learned was, it was C of S by R of S. Agree? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So now instead of taking C of S by R of S, so we have to do some extra mathematical operation such a way that we can get the answer fastly compared to block diagram. So overall transfer function is equal to C of S by R of S only, but the formula we won't dump like how we did in block diagram. We are going to take this summation Tk delta K by delta. Okay, so this is the formula you're supposed to remember. So now we'll take the wording, what is the meaning of that, then I will teach you how to solve the problem. Okay, so you can look at here k. So k is there, and that summation will vary from your k only. So if I take summation, it will vary from 1 to, I mean generally 1 to n number. That 1 to n depends upon your forward paths. If I say k is called as number of forward path, so assume that you have 3 forward paths, so I need to vary my summation from 1 to 3. Is it okay? So this is a generalized formula, Tk delta k by delta. So k is called as forward path, and Tk, T indicates it's a gain of your kth forward path. If it means, look at here, if I say 3 forward paths, so I need to find T1, T2, T3. So for that corresponding T1, T2, T3, there will be a gain, what we mentioned earlier, right? So that gain I am supposed to multiply to find this T1, T2, T3. In general, Tk. Is it okay? With this k and tk, what is the meaning of this? So just remember the things. Once we solve the problem, we'll get a clear idea. Shall I proceed, guys?
Yes, sir.
So now we'll move on. What is the meaning of delta? See, till now we know what is the meaning of delta in mathematics, nothing but determinants, right? Yes or no? So determinants, we used to apply your determinant concept there. So same thing here, but you are not going to use the determinant concept like in mathematics. There is slight variations with respect to that. Representation delta is nothing but a system determinant which can be calculated as follows. So you can see the formula is given. So delta is equal to 1 minus. So don't forget this one, guys. If you forget this one, the complete answer is going to be different. So don't forget that. Okay. So I hope everyone remember whenever you write any feedback loop gain equation formula, we know that we used to write g of s divided by, in general, g divided by 1 plus or minus h. Do you remember that one was there, right? Similarly, with respect to signal flow graph also, determinant will be calculated using 1 minus summation of all the individual loops. Summation of all the individual loops. So it means what? For example, if you find two loops in the given problem, you need to make L1 plus L2. That is the meaning of summation of all individual loops. Plus summation of gain into gain product of all possible combination for two non-touching loops. So you need to multiply the gain, and it is not addition inside, it is multiplication. You should be very careful. So first thing I told 1 minus, if the loops are 2, L1 plus L2. But here you should take L1 into L2 or L1 into L3 depending upon two non-touching loops. Is it okay? What I told with this, everyone understood or not? First category is summation. If loops are 3, you need to add L1 plus L2 plus L3. So out of these 3, you need to find, do we have any non-touching loop? If so, how many? So if you have two non-touching loop, that I am supposed to multiply, not I am not going to add. Is it okay? Is it okay?
Yes.
So similarly, the formula is not going to end here, guys. It is going to keep continuing. See, some problem may not have non-touching loops only. So that time, so this category won't come. You can do 1 minus of remaining loop and you can end it. So some problem you may get two non-touching loop. That problem you will get till here. So there may be some problem which is having three non-touching loops also, right? So that time you need to continue the formula minus summation gain into gain into gain. Three times you can see because of this three non-touching loops. So L1, L2, L3, for example, I'm telling. Okay. So that also need to be considered. So this is how you are going to find delta, which is there in the formula at the denominator. So we have got K means what? We got Tk means what? And we got delta means what? So only thing left out in the numerator is delta K. So if anybody have doubts still here, you can ask. Otherwise, let me proceed. Once you solve the problem, understand. But to solve that, just have a logic of the problem. Is it okay? Is it okay, guys? Shall I proceed? Shall I proceed? Yes. Any doubts, anyone till here? Shall I continue?
Sir, delta.
Yenapa?
Delta second.
Okay, fine. So let me explain delta once more. See, that's why I told if we solve the problem, we'll come to know how to substitute the value. In general, we are discussing. So delta means it is called as system determinant. So to find that, we have a separate formula. So the formula is 1 minus. Okay, let me take an example only. So simple example, let me go ahead. So if want to calculate delta, so I need to make use of the formula like what we discussed. So it says 1 minus. So this is having one category, summation of all the individual loops. So assume that you have a problem with two separate loops. I will take it as L1 plus L2. So summation. So if we make this L1 plus L2, then again no need to give summation here. Okay. So it is L1 plus L2. Then the formula continues plus. So two non-touching loops with multiplication of their gain. So assume that L1 and L2 are two non-touching loop. I'm just giving example like how we took earlier, no? So this is L1. So if we take this as L2, so I think you remember this L1, L2. So these two are not touching each other. Agree with this? Agree? Everyone?
Yes, sir.
So this will be having some value. For example, H1. This is H2, okay? And this is having H1, right? So now what I'm supposed to write in this delta formula is, so we know that there are two loops. So I wrote L1 plus L2 after 1 minus. Then second concept says, if we have two non-touching loop, then only this part will come. Otherwise, you can end the things here itself. Am I clear? So since in this problem, for example, I'm telling two non-touching loops are there, then what I'm supposed to do? I'm supposed to do L1 into L2. Is it clear? So what is the meaning of L1? So what is L1 from this, guys? L1 is equals to what? The values you're supposed to multiply, right? For example, if they give 2 of this, so that will be multiplied here. 2 times of H1 or only H1. Artha agtidya? The corresponding gain you're supposed to multiply, that's all. Here you did addition. Here you need to do product. And how many non-touching loops are there? Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
So similarly, assume that we add one more concept. See, I told you that depends upon problem to problem. So in this example, we got 2. So we can stop here. So assume that you add one more problem like how we showed earlier, right? So there was 3 loops like this. So all 3 were non-touching only, right? Then again, you need to continue. The formula says, so plus, minus, plus, again, minus. How many 3 non-touching loops are there? L1, L2, L3. So you need to do product of all the gains. This is what the meaning of that formula to calculate your delta. Am I clear now? Am I clear, guys? Is it okay? So once we start the problem,
We
we'll
should
get you
do
come.
product with gain, sir.
Pardon? You should. See, it will be like this. I will tell that also. So it will be like this G1. So here you are having corresponding H1. So what you should do? What is L1 now? So from this, what is this? Is L1, right? So from this, what I can write? L1 is equal to gain. Gain is how much? G1, right? So that G1 is going to multiply with the gain of the loop is H1. So this is the formula for my L1. Agree? Agree?
Yes, sir.
So this I am supposed to put here, substitute here. Similarly L2, similarly L3. The complete I should be product it. So you should not add it like the first category. You should do multiplication. That is what the meaning of gain into gain into gain. 2 times means 2 non-touching loop. 3 times means 3 non-touching loop. Is it okay? See, understand this clearly,
Yes,
because when you solve the problem, this will clear out the doubts whatever you have. But you should have a logic. So how to find that? For that purpose, I just taught you that. Is it okay?
yes, sir.
Yeah. So this is called delta. So now in this formula, we finished tk and delta k and what is delta and k. So last part is delta k. So now you tell me, if I consider k is equal to 2, so what are the things I should find? If I consider k is equal to 2, what are the things I should find? Yeah. If k is equal to
2 not
2, you need to find what?
non-touching.
Delta 1 and delta 2. Yes or no, yaar? See, the formula is delta k.
Yes, sir.
Correct, na? So if I want to find delta k, so then what I should have? Let's go back to that paint. Yeah. So what I should have? So delta k is what? Just a second. Delta k is what? The one more term left out in that formula, right? So delta k, I told k indicates the number of forward path. So assume that in this you have 2 forward path. It means k is equal to 2. It is going to vary from 1 to 2. So you should take k once as 1 and second time 2. So you need to find delta 1, delta 2 to get this delta k. Am I clear? So the formula says tk into delta k. So what is the meaning of this? Tk into is it audible, guys? I'm audible.
Sir, it's breaking.
Yeah. And now it's fine.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So let me come back. So the formula says tk in delta k. So I need to find t1 into delta 1. Okay. Plus t2 into delta 2. So this is what the explanation of your that summation if you take 2 forward path, right? So over divided by delta. So this is what my new formula to calculate the transfer function. So you already know what is t1, that is calculated at the beginning only. Only thing we should find what is delta 1. That is what I'm explaining here. Is it fine till here to everyone? Is it fine? Shall I proceed?
Yes, sir.
Okay. See, in order to explain this delta 1, we need to consider the example. So we'll go straight away with the example now. We'll solve one problem. So where we'll tell you all the things, how it works and how to find your transfer function. Shall we proceed?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So let me take a new file. So let me copy your problem. Just a second, guys. Okay. So this is a question. Is it visible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I'm pasting here. So this is a given question. So let me cut this question itself. So now we will discuss one by one. So understand one problem clearly here. So if you know the logic, see only the mistake you will commit is while calculating that non-touching loop. There only you are going to commit mistake. So otherwise remaining part will be easier only. So this is a given question. So what is the thing I told? Once you see the question, analyze the formula. So you need to write a Mansion gain formula first. Can anyone tell me what is a Mansion gain formula here? So Mansion gain formula, we can find the transfer function is equals to, formula summation k varies from
tk into
1 to, generally I write 1 to n. So we will see what is at n later. So 1 to n, then tk into
TK
delta k.
into
So
delta K.
So tk delta k. See if anybody have doubts, just clear it out. Okay. Whole divided by delta. So this is the generalized formula for your Mansion gain. So this formula you should write for any problem you're going to solve on this signal flow graph. Okay. So now for this we will go step by step. So what is the thing we need to find? We need to find how many k you have. So what is the meaning of k? I told you. What is k, guys?
number of forward paths.
Good. So number of forward paths. So now you tell me from the diagram what they are given, how many forward paths you have.
2.
Sure. So you are telling that there are 2 forward paths. Let me verify that. So from here is one. Sainappa. Forward path means what? Input to output trace. And one more is which one, guys? I think this one. Is it so?
Yes, sir.
So this is your first forward path, which is straight away moving from input to output, and second one taking a path from G5, G4. So these are the two forward paths. So now what is the value of K? I can write here. K is equal to
2.
good. So we found K is equal to 2. So this is the first step. Anybody doubts with this first step? Is it okay? Shall I proceed? Shall I proceed? See, finding the forward path, nothing new. What you learned in block diagram, same thing you are going to represent here. That's it. So if you find K is equal to 2, then what is your N now? N is varying from, K is varying from 1 to
1 to 2.
good. So if you know what is the variation, then what is a new formula, guys? So what is a new formula now? Let me write here itself. So I can expand this as T1 delta 1 plus T2 delta 2 whole divided by delta. If you have 3 forward paths, this will go continuously. So T3 plus delta 3. So now since in this problem, since it is having only 2, we can conclude that problem as T1 delta 1 plus T delta 2. Is it okay till here?
Yes, sir.
Good. So now look at the things and tell me what else we need to find. So once we found K, then I need to find this Tk. See, we will go step by step how we learn the formula. Tk is first thing, then you're going to find delta, then at the end you're going to find delta K. So this is the 3 steps you're supposed to follow. So now tell me how many Ks I should find. So it is T1 and T2. So what is T1, guys? It means forward path 1. So can anyone tell me what is the forward path 1 from the diagram? What is the forward path 1? So input to output path, it's 1 into G1 into G3, G4, G5, G4 into 1. So 1 and 1, if we exclude, what is T1? The forward path 1 is G1.
G1, G2, G3.
Any doubts, anyone? How we wrote this forward path? I'm just writing the branch gain for the path what I found already from input to output. That is your T1. So this is your T1 answer. Is it okay? Similarly, can you tell me what is T2 now?
G4, G5.
G4, G5. So we will trace according to this. We will go. So it will come like G5, G4. If you go according to the direction, so G4 won't come first. It is G5, then followed by G4. Agree, Napa?
Yes, sir.
So any doubts? Anyone till here? So from the Manson gain formula, we are able to find K means what? That is your forward path. We got it as 2. So we wrote 1 and 2. And once we found K, then we can easily find your T1, T2. That is forward path. So is it okay till here?
Yes, sir.
Is it okay till here? Shall we proceed? Everyone,
Yes,
shall we
sir.
proceed, guys?
Yes, sir.
Now for this formula, so next thing what we want is delta involves your, so delta formula involves no. So before going to apply that formula, that is 2 non-touching loop, 3 non-touching loops, how many number of
There was
loops you have in
display.
this? Okay. Now is it audible here?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Till T1, T2, am I clear? My voice was fine till there. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now what I'm telling is, so next concept we are supposed to calculate what, guys? Delta. So we know that in delta we have a formula like 1 minus of summation all the loops. So now before going to find this delta, let's try to analyze the number of loops present in the given question. If we are able to do that, then it will be easy for you to debug how many non-touching loops are there or not. Am I clear? So we need to write, we'll try to trace the loops present here. Then we can try to analyze how many non-touching loops are there. Is it okay?
Yes,
Is it
sir.
okay? Okay. Now you tell me by seeing diagram how many loops you have. Analyze, see the
Okay.
things properly and tell me. So I want the path from output to input. How many you have? So by seeing diagram, you're telling that H1, H2. Okay. So let me write that. So you see, this is your next step. What all things we are writing here, the same thing you're supposed to follow in the exam to get complete 12 to 14 marks. If you miss the steps, you're not going to get full marks, guys. So this is what the thing you're telling, right? So G2 is there and corresponding minus H1 is there. So this is what you have treated as loop 1. Agree? So this is your loop 1. So similarly, you treated this path. So this path as your loop 2. This continuous path. So if I write this, it look like this. So for this, we are going to connect H2. So this is minus H2. So how many paths you have, how many nodes you have, just make a note. So here 1, here 1, here 1. So I think you have one more, here 1, right? So this you can name it as G1, G2, G3 and G4. So this is what your L2, what you told. So these are the two loops what you discussed, guys. Yes or no? Okay. So according to your view and analogy from the diagram, you're telling that there are only two loops, sir. Can you observe the things carefully and tell me, do you have one more loop? Do you have one more loop? Output G5. So you should make sure that it should not touch the loop again. The same node should not get touched. So which is that path? Which is a path? So you can see the outer path. There is outer path something. You can look at here. This path. G5, G4 along with this H2 and ending here. Is this also a loop? Is this also a loop? Yes or no? First you tell me, then we will discuss. The path what I'm tracing in the blue color, G4, G5 and minus H2 and ending back at this node. So can I consider that also as a loop?
Yes, sir.
So you should be very careful while observing the loops. So by seeing H1, H2, don't judge yourself. It is a loop. See, in the block diagram, we add loop concept with respect to your parallel combination also. So but the only thing was the direction. But here we can consider this as also a loop because output to input logic. So according to that, so how the new diagram look like now? So G1 means your position is there, G5 is coming here, it is ending here, right? And this is continuing G4, one more node is there, then the tracing back is H2. This is how it looks, guys. This is how it looks. So do you agree that there are three loops now? So loop means what? A closed path. A closed path with a feedback. So is it a closed path with a feedback now? Can I call this 3 as a feedback loops? This is my L3. Any doubts? Anyone till here? If you have, you can ask. So you need to write the loops like this, what we mentioned. L1, L2, L3. So this is your next step after finding T1, T2 or before finding your delta. See, if you're able to write the loops only, you can judge how many non-touching loops you have. Unless until you write the diagram like this, you can't identify. So am I clear till here to everyone? Am I clear, guys?
Yes, sir.
Good. So now you tell me what are the formulas you can represent your L1, L2, L3. So what is L1 equals to, guys?
Minus G to H1.
Good. So minus G2 H1. So the corresponding branch gain and loop gain you are multiply. That's all. So we got the formula for my L1 is this. So I hope everyone understanding, right? So that's why I told analyze one problem clearly. Yeah. What is L2?
Minus G1, G2, G3, G4.
Good. Minus G1, G2, G3, G4 into H2. So I hope all have understood the logic, how to find the loops and how to write a loop equation. So am I clear till here to everyone? So what is the last equation, guys? L3, loop 3 minus, trace the branch. G5 is there, G4 is there, followed by H2. So these are the three loop equations for the three corresponding loops. So anybody have doubts how to write this loop equations or how to write the loops? See, if you're able to analyze this much, then remaining will become easier for you. Is it okay till here? Is it okay till here? So so you just make a note of the question. So if you want, you can take a snap. So that I'll delete. I'll need a space to write the next part. Shall I delete it off? Everyone? Shall I?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So just bear for 5 more minutes. So we'll wind this problem so that you should not have discontinuity again tomorrow. So we'll finish up this problem, then I will leave the class. Okay. So we found L1, L2, L3. Okay. Now my next task is to find delta. So we know delta is what, guys? What is the formula for delta? Delta is equals to 1 minus. Yeah, now you can tell me what is the first part I should fill? Summation of individual loops.
L1, L2, L3.
Good. So L1 plus L2, you should not leave the word plus there because it is summation of individual loop. So L1 plus L2 plus L3 because of 3. So we got the first category. So still we can continue by seeing whether you have non-touching loops or not. So first thing you should find two non-touching loops. So observe L1, L2, L3 and tell me, do you have non-touching loops? If so, how many you have?
1.
You have only two non-touching loop. That is what your answer. Yes or no, yaar? Observe all the three loops and tell me. So what is the meaning of non-touching loop? The statement we have mentioned. If there is no node common in between two or more loops, such loops are said to be non-touching loop. Correct now? If there are no node common in between two or more loops, such type is what we are going to call as non-touching loop. So now you have three loops with you, L1, L2, L3. Just observe. So if you compare, see, if I say two non-touching loop, you need to compare two at a time. You should not compare three. So comparing L1 and L2. So check out L1 and L2. So is it touching? See, G2 is there here also. These two nodes are touching. So I can't go with L1, L2. Understanding, yeah, everyone? So now compare with L2, L3. I told two not touching means at a time you should compare two. So L2 and L3 again it is touching. See this end also and this end both are touching. So this is also not possible. So only possible is what? L1 and L3. Is it possible? Look at here. L1 is here. See, if I write roughly, it look like this. So this is L1 loop and L2, L3 is outside. So do you think is it touching? The nodes are touching to each other? Is it touching? Loop 1 is touching
No,
to loop 3. That is why we told L1, L3 is the only option what we have for two non-touching loops. So what is the formula ends now? Plus L1 into L2.
L2.
So this is a mistake what I told you will commit here. You will blindly make it as plus or you will make this as product. So either of these two steps you are going to make commit a mistakes here. So be alert with that, guys. So after 1 minus, the thing should be summation. That should be in your mind. After that, if non-touching loops are there, then only the product will come. If not, leave it off. So then can I continue further? Do you think there are any three non-touching loops? L1, L2, L3. If you compare all all three are touching each other. So then we can't go the formula further. We can end here itself. So it means what? The delta formula is what is on the screen. Any doubts? Anyone till you? Is it okay, guys? How to find delta now? Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
So now we can continue this, right? What you want to do? You just need to substitute the things, everything, and simplify. That's all. So 1 minus. So what is the thing you want? You just make it the things in a bracket only, because minus again you'll get reverse thing. So L1 formula I'll draw. What is L1?
Minus G2H1.
Minus G2H1 plus. What is L2?
Minus G1
So
G2.
because of that plus and minus, it become minus only. Agree? So minus G1, G2, G3, G4, H2. So what I'm writing, let me increase this font. Is it visible, guys, to everyone? Is it okay? Is it visible? If anybody have doubt, what is the thing we're writing here? Let me know. So I wrote L1, I wrote L2. What is next? So again, plus or minus will come. What is L3 formula, guys?
G5 G4 H2.
G5,
Minus
G4,
H2.
H2. So don't write blindly H3. You don't have any H3 loop here. You have only H1, H2. Okay. So this is what the thing I have. So close the bracket. Again, if you multiply the minus, it can become 1 plus 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 plus. So that is your delta answer. So is it okay?
Yes.
So what I wrote, that is for your L1 plus L2 plus L3. The formula is not ended. So further you are right. Plus. So what is the next part? I need to take product. Yes or no? So what is the product now? What is the product answer? So L1 into L3.
Plus G2
So L1,
H1.
L3. So minus of minus become plus only. So you can write G2 for G5 followed by H1, H2. Is it okay? Okay.
Yes, sir.
So just make sure the things what you write clearly mention the things in the bracket, because this is one category and second is one more category. So then the complete things you're supposed to multiply. Okay. So this answer will tell you what is delta. So you can multiply minus to complete thing and you can write everything as 1 plus fashion. So 1 plus G2 H1. Is it okay till here? So any doubts, anyone, how to find delta? If you have doubts, let me know. Otherwise, let me teach you how to get the delta 1, delta 2 and end the problem. Is it okay? Shall I proceed? The remaining answer is same what you want from the above. Only thing is I'm multiplying minus inside. That's it. Is it okay? Shall I proceed here?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now after finding delta, so next left out the last part in that formula is what, guys? Delta K. So delta K means how many values you have now? How many values? Delta 1 and delta 2. So you should know how to find this delta 1 and delta 2. So if you're able to get this, then just dumping all the things in the formula, getting the answer. Okay. So let me explain you how to find delta 1 now. So formula says delta 1 is equals to 1 minus. So the formula again repeats, see delta, how we wrote 1 minus there, same way here also. So delta 1 is equal to 1 minus. You just check out the things, compare the things with respect to your T1. If I say delta 1, what is the thing I should have in my mind? Delta 1 with respect to T1. So what is the T1 you got, guys? So G1,
G1 G2
G2,
G3
G3, G4.
G2.
So now observe the things carefully what I'm going to explain. So formula is T1 into delta 1. So the logic is whatever the forward path I have, do we have any loop which is not touching this? If I take first forward path, do you have any loop which is not touching this path?
Loop 1.
No path are having which is not touching, because all the paths are touching G1, G2, G3. Agree? Agree with this? Yes or no? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So that is why the further path we are going to consider it as 0. So further path we are going to consider it as 0. So then we can conclude that what is delta 1? Delta 1 is equals to 1 only. Is this first point clear? So if this is okay, then I will teach you how to find delta 2. So you got how to find delta 1, delta 2 now? The formula is 1 minus. You need to find any paths, I mean, forward path, whatever formula we have, are there any loops which are not touching that? So now we'll go with the second one. So let's compare with T2. Now you should tell me the answer. So what is the path here? T2?
G5, G4.
Good. So G5 and G4. Now tell me, by comparing this forward path from the diagram to your loops, any loops which are not touching to this path? Are there any loops? Compare and tell me. Compare.
Yeah.
Loop 1 is there, loop
Loop
2 is there,
1.
loop 3 is there. See, if you go with loop 2, G1, G2, G3, G4 is there. So that is not possible. If you go to loop 3, again G5, G4 both are there. So both are touching. So only option is L1. You can look at here. G2 is the only term what we have. So it means I can have what? One loop which is not touching that. So you need to write the formula 1 minus L1. Is it okay, guys? Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
So from this, I can conclude what is the formula now. So if we substitute the value of L1, it says minus. So minus of minus become plus. So 1 plus G2 H1 is the formula for my delta 2. Anybody, any doubts till here? That's it. See, if you got till here, just dumping the things and throwing in the Mansion formula to get the transfer function C of S by R of S. So if you're able to analyze the thing till what I told till here, that will be 90% completion of a problem. 10% is just substituting the things and getting a final answer. Is it okay? If anybody have doubt till here, let me know. If not, so let's wind this problem. Is it okay till here?
Yes, sir.
Fine, good. So now the last part. So let me go back to your Mansion gain formula. So let's delete this part. So now you should tell me what are the things I'm supposed to substitute here. So transfer function T of S, or you can write C of S by R of S is equals to
T1 delta.
just need to mention the things once more. So T1 delta 1, T2 delta 2 over delta. So do we have answers for all these things? You have T1, that is this. You have delta 1, T2 this, and delta 2 is this. So multiply that and what this answer. If you substitute all the things, so don't write that answer. T1 delta 1 T2, then you can simplify a final answer. So that will conclude the problem. Is it okay to everyone? Is it okay to everyone? Fine, guys. So that completes one problem on Mansion
just
formula.
writing
Yeah.
the just substituting, that's it, sir.
That's all. That's all. So what is T1? This G1, G2, G3, G4. That should be multiplied with your delta 1, that is 1, plus T2 is what? Delta 2 is what? Whole divided by delta. What all values you are there? Just throw in that and get the answer. Nothing simplification, right? So that itself is the answer. Is it okay? Everyone, is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Good. So that's finish one problem on mansion gain. So still, if you have any doubts, you just make a note and you can ask tomorrow's class. So is it okay? Shall we wind the session then? Just enter yours and you can leave. So see you tomorrow, guys. Take care.